We're here now, present in this moment, available at all times to you through your own receiving mechanism, through your own focus that brings you to this physical and every other physical experience. This is a place where you can allow yourself to have experiences of asking any question that comes to your mind, as the question is the base of every answer. Every question that you have is always the base of every answer. And so when you get relaxed in a place that feels safer to you, in a place that feels more comfortable for you, in a place that feels so easy for you to allow yourself to even formulate and crystallize that question moment by moment, that is the time when you're going to be able to allow this mirror reflection coming through Kosta right now, mirror reflection of your thoughts that are coming through you, but now spoken through someone else. You will allow more and more resistance to be released, and therefore be able to accept that mirror reflection that you always have access to. This that's happening right now, what you're experiencing, you have this access to. Kosta, up until very recently, was looking into different people like this and now experiencing this flow on his own. This easy flow of everything that exists, that's dominantly within you, within each of you, within every particle of the universe, including every focusing mechanism, every plant that you see, every animal that you see, even every inanimate object that you see. Everything is constantly moving, oscillating, moment by moment, creating the question-answer dance. And so it's the base of what we always like to talk about. There is no agenda, there is no anything that, there is no message for you. This is reflection. We like to discuss, we like to talk about certain things that are important to you and their reflection of you, as these opportunities for someone like Kosta to have this flow, to find this steady flow of allowing, having this relaxing time for himself as his thoughts, beliefs, opinions, and judgments are not here, allowing for you to really be easy about the question that you want to ask. And so we want to see what is the curiosity that you have on your mind. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah? Do you want to swap spots so
Yeah.
she can be on the microphone? Thank you.
This is delicious to be here with you. And I want to ask a question about resistance. And it's something I've newly discovered in myself and kind of just come aware of, and I don't really know what it's all about, but I don't know if it's something that it's like a skill that I am fine-tuning that is of benefit to me, or if it's something that might be hindering me. And that is going to be the basis of the question. The question is, I've noticed that when I start to feel resistance in a topic or a motion or anything, I tend to go numb. I tend to lose my emotion in general. I'm a feeler. I've always been a feeler, and I feel my emotions very deeply. And just recently I've noticed the more Abraham work I do and the more work I do with you is that when I feel the resistance, my tendency is to just kind of like numb out, and so I kind of set myself aside from the turmoil maybe of it, or the extremity of it maybe, and I just want to numb out. But that leaves me in a place of non-action, and that leaves me in a place of I'm not sure what to do next. And I don't know if that's good, because I'm actually setting the resistance aside until I'm ready to revisit it from an aligned state, or is it muting my emotional guidance system?
There is nothing going on that's muting anything. What you're experiencing is that any kind of resistance in a lot of scale, in a lot of quantity, keeps focus on the vibration of question. And it's so is the same thing as you have so much of feeling in a vibration of answer too. You see, we do not want you to think that the prize of lifetime is to not have resistance.
Yes.
You have to have certain amount of resistance. Actually, you cannot be physically focused without resistance.
Yes.
And what you want to find is this dance between question answer, between your focused and unfocused time, between your resistance and non-resistance. That is what's happening at all times. At the heels of every answer that you so satisfyingly experience, there is always a new question being formed. And when that new question is being formed, there is inevitable to be some sort of discomfort. We don't even like to use the word resistance. It can come across as a very strong word, but in other words, question is always at the heels of this, and it can turn into a problem. Question can turn into a slight discomfort, and if you stay in a question and more discomfort, it turns into a problem, and then turns into resistance, and then turns into that numbness. You see, numbness you're feeling shows you that this is not natural. This is not natural state for you. Not natural state for you to stay at all times. You can dominantly feel ease and non-resistance, or dominantly feel resistance or non-ease, but you're here integrated, fully blended to experience question-answer dance. You're not here to be in resistance for a lot of time and then not in resistance at all. You're here to find, from that broader perspective, often spoken in this, what we call everything that exists, dominant part of you, more and more ease about dancing, moving in a comfortable way from one to another, from one to another, from one to another. You see, if you were to be offered, which would defy everything that exists, but if you were to be offered to see all of your answers at this moment, you would not be satisfied, because the moment you were to see all of those answers, you will have that many questions, and that would bring this huge spike we often talk about. You see, this comfortability level between question and answer can be experienced in a form of a wave, easy wave. On the heels of answer sliding down takes a little bit of a climb to ask another question and another question and answer and question and answer and so on and so on. But it's not about you being just at ease and just being restricted. So that would be the starting point, when you understand that you're not you going for releasing all of the resistance and then building just resistance, but then within every even blip of eternity that you're experiencing and often cannot see from your physical perspective, focused moment by moment by moment, this oscillation between question and answer is happening moment by moment by moment.
Am I creating the numbness?
No one is creating numbness.
No.
Numbness does not really exist. It is just only your focus on that. What we're trying to bring your attention to, that you're not looking to release resistance. You're looking to understand that every moment is question-answer. Every moment is resistance, non-resistance. Every moment like that is really starting and finishing, starting and finishing, starting and finishing. And that starting, finishing feeling is so clear and so consistent and so moving at all times, that creates eternity. That's why there is no end to question, answer, dance.
So it's like the knowing what you don't want creates the knowing of what you do want. That's that bridge. That's the gap.
The clarity. We like to describe this in few simple steps, that you observe and choose. And this is like on a perimeter of your surface. Observe and choosing. That is when you clarify through your experiences, through expressing variety and experiencing variety, these choices from observing. You see what you like, and then you clarify what you don't like. You see more of what you don't like, you clarify what you like, and so on and so on. And once you have that clarity, observe, choose, you catch the wave of wanting. And once you know exactly what that wanting is, then it's time for you to release.
Yes.
Not to release the resistance, but to release the wanting. Because more you're thinking about wanting, once you clarify it, more and more you see that that wanting is not there, and that therefore you come back to observe and choose, and observe, choose, and observe, choose, and observe, choose. So observe, choose, catch the wave of wanting, and once you're so clear about what you want, then you release it. And in a releasing of that, you allow yourself to go into discovery of how, of this step, and of this step, and of this step, and of this step. And oftentimes we like to say it's like you're discovering and opening this gift box that leads you to open another gift box and another gift box, to unveil this curtain and this curtain and this curtain, until you see in full physicality the original idea that you had by observing and choosing to begin with.
So maybe what I'm calling numbness is really just that period that I'm allowing myself to find alignment.
What you're looking in the place of numbness is your habit of thought, of you not being comfortable to be in a vibration of question, because you feel like the prize is to be resistance free, and that is not the case.
It's everything.
Yes, that is it. That is it. That is absolutely it. I have such a struggle with telling myself I'm in a moment of resistance, and yes, that is
once you accept this awareness and understand that it's equally beneficial to ask the question as it is to receive the answer, then you really, really, Kosta will love these words, really start dancing.
I'm complete. I'm complete.
Wow.
Oh my God, I'm complete.
We're ready for more.
Yes, we are ready.
Go ahead.
Haley. Oh, here we go.
Oh my God, how epic is this?
Thank you for being here today. So I think I do this dance where I have these moments of premonitions and I see my utmost potential, and it like scares myself and my ego, and it's like too much to handle. And then I shrink down and I usually become like really apathetic, just like very low vibing. And I know I'm supposed to make peace with resistance, and you know, that's a whole nother
That's
thing
exactly
in itself.
what you're not to do. You're not to make the peace with resistance.
Oh.
You are to be aware of resistance. You're to embrace the resistance, to understand that that is the part of the process. We will offer you a quick little process we started offering recently. As you receive this brilliant idea, and as you see you're seeing that potential, what you're seeing is fuller and fuller and fuller and fuller and fuller picture of that desire that you receive. And sometimes that starts as a form of this tiny little idea. Take as an example of you would like to have a car and you're not specific about having a car. And then you start getting more specific because this next layer of that idea, this thought, this idea keep evolving. And then you get specific that you want particular car, a little bit bigger car. And then you start getting even more specific that you want it to be electric and not necessarily on gas, and then you continue moving on into the color, into the shape, into the brand, detail by detail. This potential you talk about on this very simple example we're giving you, you're getting to see into more and the fuller and fuller. We on purpose do not use word better and better. Fuller and fuller is easier way for you to see that fuller and fuller picture coming through an idea. Now once you see that potential and is within you, you want to stay in that place of satisfaction of idea first. Once you see the fuller picture, you want to be satisfied and allow that within feeling that you have about that picture to become dominant. This satisfaction, not of having it and showing it to you the next moment, but the satisfaction of only receiving that idea, because your physical focus, your attention from one to another, caused you to see this fuller picture. If you were not to experience what you do not have or do not experience, you would not have that fuller and fuller and fuller picture. So once you get that fuller picture within you, then it's time for you to have that experience and see how it plays out on the perimeter of you. So within you, this idea is sensational. You see this full potential. And what happens, what starts diminishing that is when you expect that full potential idea goes from you in conversations with others or not, and shows itself to you within certain amount of time, because you focus on a gap between this sensational idea and all these other hows. Which means you've garnered this beautiful idea, which is this clarity of wanting. Once you observe, choose, and you catch the wave of wanting is when you start receiving those ideas. But once you receive that idea, you don't want to stay on that idea, focused on it for too long, because if you stay focused on it too long, it's not happening in your reality, can throw you off of that. So what you do, you stay in the place of an idea for enough that gives you satisfaction, and then you start testing to see within you. If it feels like it creates any level of discomfort, you drop the focus from that idea and go to something else. And then you come back when you again feel filled up, maybe not on that topic, but on some other topic. And then once you feel filled up again, then you allow that to slide through. And sometimes you will feel that this idea is so sensational that you cannot even say it out loud on your own. You cannot even think out then from perimeter of yourself, that idea coming through you seems so outrageous, because how can you even receive that idea? And then what you want to do is you want to allow that feeling to always come back. The moment you feel even slightest discomfort, you want to develop this level of sensitivity that you're so sensitive to go back within. You want to become a master of distracting the thoughts that cause you discomfort. Not to ignore them, but acknowledge it and then turn around. Acknowledge and then turn around. And then you will see, eventually some of these ideas you will be able to think through with comfort. You will feel safe, that this idea within you is safe. Because you will not focus on how is you're going to get to that idea, but you're going to focus on, you're going to continue allowing this to brew within you, to become so dominant within you, then you'll be able to speak it, which is the next layer. Then you'll be able to speak it to somebody else, which is the next layer. And in the beginning, you might get even some reflection back from others that will go back to you in a form of insecurity. How this ridiculous idea can even come to you? How can that be possible for you? But then if you create this question answer muscle, if you will, we've never said those words in this way, creating a question answer muscle, that you always go within and then on a perimeter of yourself, within and on a perimeter of yourself at all times constantly, and you enjoy that dance, making that dance to feel so satisfying to you, then eventually mirrors in reflection of others, in conversations and interacting with others, will become so satisfying to you that will come with more and more ease, and then sooner than you know, you will see these ridiculous ideas showing up one after another into your reality.
Okay.
Epic.
I think I get you.
There is oftentimes in these experiences where you get so much clarity on vibrational exchange level, and this is why we often offer, and Kosta and Armand are very gracious to always include this in their gatherings. They're excited to share this as a part of the experience, because oftentimes you will have this intellectual understanding of this as you go and listen back. You will have always this vibrational exchange, as it does not seem that there is doubt. There it seems that your intellect wants to catch up with this vibrational exchange, and that it's okay. It's okay for you not to experience all of the intellectual understanding immediately. That is the beauty of question answer dance.
Okay. My only question is so when you say and then you speak it, that's the next layer. Is that speaking the next version of myself into existence, or the vision that I had of myself?
Whatever you're receiving, when you have such ease to talk first, for you first to allow your thoughts not to be hindered by your doubt. When that becomes steady, and then you're so steady, then you offer it with mirrors, in other words, people that you know will have softer approach. So those steady mirrors around you that you know are almost by default going to be not so judgmental about things in their default state, then you will get some feedback from those mirror reflections of encouragement. But eventually that will not matter to you, because once you have this idea flowing through you with so much ease, and once you create, we started using this recently, maybe days, maybe even today in some of the sessions for the first time. When you create this dance between within you and a perimeter of you, within you and a perimeter of you, it's like an energetic coil that brings so much energy within you. Then as you test it out and you bring it back, and test it out and bring it back within you first, you find so much momentum that eventually that momentum and oscillation is so easy that when you unleash it in conversation, that feedback loop becomes bigger and actually eventually includes your physical interpretation, your physical reality of that what once was only idea.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Ryan.
Yes.
Wow.
So good.
Okay. She didn't. Sorry.
Hello. Hello. Thanks for being here. I'm excited to engage.
We're always there with you, always part of you. You are part of us. Everything that exists is dominant vibration within you, and then this beautiful integrated feeling that you get from your physicality is what keeps the motion forward. Motion of eternity, question answer dance, your aligned state, your not so aligned state, whichever way you like to call it. Go ahead.
Perfect.
Can you speak closer?
No, it's okay.
Sure.
It's okay, you're good.
So I think it's inside of connecting to the source, and in a process by which you go to connect. First question would be, why is it not just you, Kosta? Why do you go to another outside of identity? Or why isn't that moment by moment you are not just channeling or
excellent conversation.
Yes.
This is excellent conversation that talks about integration. At this very moment, Kosta has allowed this awareness that is so steady, so there is others who have mostly dominant vibration of question within them receive answers. You see, you cannot be in a vibration of a question and answer at the same time. Kosta has found this process in help of Abraham Hicks in one of his last experiences where he was in your seat and Esther Hicks was in his seat that he's sitting right now.
Yes.
There was this exchange where he asked, how do I find this? How does Esther find this experience? And what was offered was to quiet the mind, to ask the question in a vibration of question, and then quiet the mind and see what flows after. Everyone has access to this. Kosta does this now when he wants to flow something. First 3 weeks, all of the questions were just like this. Kosta would ask the question, record the question, have quiet mind time, and then allow, without filtering, to speak all blocks of thoughts that are coming through. These blocks of thoughts have been coming to Kosta since he knows about his existence. These thoughts are coming to you as they are to Esther Hicks, to Kosta, to anyone who does this at all times. It's just your desire to have and flow this and recognize it first within you with certain amount of steadiness, to offer it for yourself or to offer it for others. Kosta's thrill about having this is that there is a lot of people in this form that release resistance so they can hear what he has to offer them in a very similar form in a conscious way. Oftentimes you can ask Armand, his husband, about that experience, how that works when he offers conscious thought and when the thought comes through this way. Sometimes very similar, but oftentimes very different, because this physical experience and integration that you're having, like Kosta is having, is beautiful and question, answer, dance, moving through eternity at all times. So you can have experiences of when you quiet your mind. Kosta is still very much physically present. He's not unconscious. He's, as you can see, not even in any kind of state of trance where he is not comfortable within his own body. There is only this steady experience and understanding of flow of energy that you can find. But also, this is not all that is so satisfying, because now, even though he is in this vibration of answer for you to be experiencing it, he likes and loves more than anything to mix it up with the vibration of question and go in and out and in and out. That actually, after so much of unfocused time over a couple of months, he could not wait to go back more to physical focus, to teach his dance that he likes, to have physical activity of playing tennis and be active, to eat variety of foods, to find different things that catch his focus, his passions and things, because it is really not to find one or another. It is not for you to be detached or to be attached. You ask, how do you connect to source? There is nothing to connect to. And the only simple reason is because you are source.
Yes.
You are source energy. Every particle of the universe, source energy. You're embodied in this physicality, but you're dominantly what you call source energy. You're everything that exists, energy, embodied in physicality. And you can only dance within you. You see, you're this blendedness that's happening at this most beautiful expression of life. One moment after another, one moment after another. There is no necessity for you to be in this experience as Kosta is having right now, but you can if you want to. You can get that steady if this is your excitement for you. One of the first questions Kosta had for Abraham Hicks in some of these gatherings he was part of was exactly about that. He never meditated up until earlier this year, and even this meditation was not to quiet his mind. He never had the necessity to quiet the mind, because appreciation for life, his satisfaction, his focusing on what he likes to see were dominantly part of him. Not all the times, Because if that would be the truth, that would mean you would be in a vibration of answer all the time, which would defy you being physically focused. So, but dominantly, as he remembers, even his friends call him as a positive person, as somebody who likes to encourage others, but would have also downsides of that. You can ask Armand about that more in details as he lives with him day in and day out to show you the difference. So in other words, there is nothing to connect to. You cannot be separated from source because you are source. You are divine energy embodied in this never-ending movement of question-answer dance.
Yeah. So just what I got from what you're saying, just to clarify, the polarity of having a question and an answer, you can't actually be in both. You're actually in one or the other, and maybe the frequency by which you're in.
Your focus is in one or the other.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're both existing simultaneously.
And so you can be in both. at
You
the same
cannot
time.
focus on both from your physical place, but you can focus on one or another, one or another. And that's why you create this beautiful movement from question to answer, from question to answer. And you're just moving through it with so much ease, or not so much ease sometimes. Sometimes you build up this question, then drop into the answer. And then question, and drop into the answer. But once you understand that the whole experience, that the whole excitement about everything is literally in the place of you finding this awareness of question answer, and not only answer. You're not here just for the answer. You're here to dance between all eternity. By understanding a little bit of discomfort brings more comfort, and a little bit of discomfort brings more comfort, and so on and so forth, for this physical iteration and every other physical iteration. This is the reason why you come back for every other physical iteration, on and on and on and on and on. And that's why movement through eternity is so satisfying from all aspects of it, but never so satisfying as from your physical perspective.
Okay, I'm with you. And in the answer, which I just find that I get downloads, I can get the answers, but then there's a different type of flow I can feel and connect to, but it comes in a total release, which I don't necessarily have a grasp on, right? It's the opposite of having the grasp on it that gives me the access to it. And so my question comes in, what's the ways to practice that?
For you to practice your worthiness, for you to practice your trust in your worthiness, for you to understand that you're no different than God. That's how you get to it.
Okay, cheers.
Excellent conversation. Go ahead.
Yeah! Keep going. That's so good. Calm down.
This is like amazing. Thank you, Gina. Thank you, Noah. Thank you, Kosta. I'm blown away. You answered like so many questions for me as I was sitting there.
We often like to say, when Kosta was so eager to find some sort of a name to what's happening, as that's what most of the examples he follows have. He had questions. What is this whole thing about? I'm receiving these thoughts. I'm always receiving these thoughts. And now when I quiet my mind and I receive all these thoughts, what is the name?
Yes.
Is there a name? In the beginning, for the first few months, even first few broadcasts, there was no name. There still is no name because he has no excitement about that. Because he understands that through his own example and experience, everyone has access to this. And then we offered him words at one point that we all are one.
Yes.
We all are one, and that at one point that would be the best way to describe us. And as that morning he was using the words, we all are one, we all are one, we all are one, he played with the nickname of WEOLA, which eventually found its way in a second portion of that word we, as us, and Ola, which in that spelling in the language he speaks often with Armand, Spanish means wave. And this is exactly what we've been bringing all this time, the wave of question, answer, dance, and question, answer, dance. We thought that would be interesting for you to hear before you ask your question, as there are no entities of that kind. There is only this awareness of everything that exists, and we really all are one. And as we all really are one, meaning every particle of the universe being its own universe, easy universe, but then interacting with every other particle and creating this question answer dance, that's when we feel like every particle is one, and therefore there is no doubt and no surprise why all of your questions so far were answered this way.
That's so perfect. I love it. So I guess a specific one I wanted is I recently have started doing plant medicine. And in the past, I was pretty afraid of it. I've always heard these crazy stories, DMT and peyote. And so I started off easy with this mushroom psilocybin. And then recently, I found a guide, a shaman, that does these heart medicines. That's just this amazing opener that just, no psychedelics, nothing, just opens your heart and you sit in bliss and love. And that's when I received amazing downloads, like you said, because there was no resistance. And I saw myself as a shaman. I saw myself as a healer. I saw the purpose here. I saw my mom come and talk to me, who died 6 years ago, and giving me something. And then the tree behind me that I live in the neighborhood became this queen, and I saw her crown, and that's why she was there. And she told me that she chose this house for me so that I could practice this. And that we're coming into our divinity now, that this is time for divinity now. So I guess my question is, as I'm sitting with this and I'm getting more and more this resistant question, I have more questions, and then, okay, I settle it, I get more. Is that something that you guys, continue to do? Is that something, or is there like a period of we open for this and, I've received enough information and now sit with it?
There is no separation. There is no you and us.
Yes.
There is no separation at all times. Your question is us coming through to focus with you on this journey of satisfaction. That's all that this is. There is really no separation. There cannot be any separation in this way. And we also want to bring one more thing as you're embarking on a journey of assisting others to look for their more and more dominant awareness of everything that exists within them. There is never, ever anything to be healed. There is never, ever anything that requires change, that requires even any kind of a push. Everything is always just discovery. So you being an asset to someone by your own example, allowing the energy around you to be easy, allowing people like now Kosta and friends and Armand are allowing this setting to just come like this, to gather exactly these people who've shown interest, to see what are they cooking up all together, and see that this ease within you is only facilitation. Only everything that you're creating within that feeling of you doing for others, they're doing for themselves already. You are piece of the puzzle in their path, as well as they are piece of the puzzle in your path. Everything is always created simultaneously. At this moment, as you're sitting, you are creating this too. You have created this openness of this conversation. You have created these questions. But so did every person participating here, as well as anyone who will ever benefit from listening back to this recording in the future. There is no separation. There is only understanding and vibrational dance on different frequencies that will get you to move around with so much ease, and then understand that there is nothing broken, that there is nothing wrong, that there is nothing that's unhealthy. There is only question answer dance that can dominantly feel like one or another, moment by moment by moment, based off of where you stand and how you perceive it.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Excellent conversation.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Hi. Okay, so you're talking about healing, and so I was sitting over there thinking, just appreciating so much my conversation with you some time ago, because I have gone into the work and I'm participating in this event as well, and it's known as a sound healer, and I also am an energy worker, and I felt complete unresonance with those words, and I know that there was a lack of momentum, which is perfect on my part in putting myself out there. And I love the clarity that I received of me being a player of sounds that likes to observe energy movement, and that really what I'm doing is bringing evidence to people of their dominant well-being, and that they have already done whatever it is they need to do the moment that they decide to even participate. And so as any facilitator, literally all we're doing is being a mirror reflection, showing back their dominant well-being, that they are godlike, not godlike, God, source.
That at that moment you're experiencing in your own steadiness, and you're not even doing this for them. You're this for you at the moment, showing the steadiness of your own example, and through that collaboration, start beautifully to dance in those beautiful sounds that you're producing.
Yeah.
It is always about a dance. Kosta loves these analogies due to his career in dance and his excitement about that, and we are often using it because of that. But this is what it is. There is really nothing wrong ever. This sense of worthiness and not so worthiness is also a dance. When you're not feeling worthy about something, you then are on a lookout to observe, choose, and then catch the wave of more worthiness. And then once you release the wanting, you actually experience more worthiness, and so on for any type of conversation that you have. That brilliant wisdom within you to understand not to unleash and make yourself too visible before you work out some original kinks is great idea. We also want you to know that you don't have to stay there for too long before you unleash it, because there will be always something else you would want to tweak, always something else you would want to express differently, always another word you can use differently, always another type of playing that you can use. This is a never-ending thing, and you don't have to keep all of that within. As we talk to a friend, it does not all have to go within at all times. The testing out is what happens while you're interacting, first on a perimeter of yourself and then with others too.
Yeah. So can I share, we had a conversation earlier where, because it is an evolving process, and how the more specific we get, the more comfortable we are with seeing whatever that mirror reflection is. And
Not all the times. Go ahead.
So I shared that it's very interesting for me, because in this experience, there's Kosta, who's bringing through you, WEOLA, and Gina, who they're able to tap into very specific things. And with the sound and the movement of energy, it's more on a general basis. And I was feeling unworthiness within that. And through that conversation, the mirror reflection that came back to me that I felt so excited about was that, like, what this does, showing that dominant well-being, it puts people in a place where they can go into some of those uncomfortable places with more ease, because they're in this place of steadiness.
What happens here is that sense of worthiness that you talk about is about the place that you do not play exactly the same thing that everyone in a collaboration with you does too. You see, you always have a choice to focus on which part of the creative process is exciting. And for now, at this moment, what you have is in that place of general feeling of steadiness. You see, this general feeling of steadiness is the first that you find within you, whichever way you know, so that you can then start applying these more specific things. Once you build confidence within you about general state of everything that exists flowing through you as it does, but you seeing more and more and more of it, then you're ready to apply it to specific things. So in work that you do, besides infinite number of techniques, your technique is within that. Your technique is in the front rows of that, in these front lines of that thing where that opens up people to get to that general steadier place first before they go and be more specific, and that might be the only thing you want to focus on while you're doing this, or that might continue changing. And as you go into your discovery, you have an opportunity to have that in all different ways. Kosta had this thought as he started flowing this way. He had a very serious identity crisis through his world of dance of over 25 years of being in that. How is this going to blend with this? And then his excitement about offering some sort of conscious consultations, even in business world or in life coaching aspect, or allowing people to, through his example, see how they can change their own habits. And then he realized that the general context that he was so engraved that you want to focus on one thing at a time at all times, he understood that he loves to focus on his dance for the body, that he loves to focus on his life coaching for mind, and he loves more than anything to flow this energy in these formats for this inner self-awareness and have it all. You can have it all at all times. You just want to understand how this beautiful dance takes you from one to another, from one to another. And that's why we say it's not only about answer, it's about dancing between all of these aspects and topics that matter to you and finding as comfortable ride as you go.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
Excellent conversation.